on. It was the wiring harness that was behind the dash. That's where the smoke was coming from. Mark Blundell hoping to get back in. He's starting to take the gloves off. Maybe they've changed their mind. But why don't I quickly update you on Al Unser Jr. We thought maybe he was slowing. The only report he's had to Penske is that there's no problem with the car. The track is just getting slick.
Oh, keep an eye on little Al. I'll tell you what. With Penske support, I wouldn't even want him in the field.
Yeah, but obviously, if the track is getting slick, his car's not handling that slick condition quite as well as he'd like to, because the car in front, look at him, he's diving into the pits. It seems like a little bit early, doesn't it?
It would be. Al Unser Jr. peels off on the pit road. There's that brand new pit area. They spent a lot of money improving this track, and the improvements are terrific. As Al Unser Jr. comes down the pit road, this is at the 24th lap, Jan Beekes.
He brings it to a stop, and of course, if the track was getting slick, this is a little bit of Penske's strategy. They can come in here, they can get some fresh tires, and they can make some tire pressure adjustments if they need to. All the service is done. 12.21 seconds for Al Jr.
Fantastic stop. Al Unser Jr. comes in a bit early, lap 24. Of course, you could pace that first stop, can't you? Does it get him clear? What does it do for him?
Well, he used that same strategy at Mid-Ohio to try and jump himself up, because what happens now, he moves back in the traffic. Everybody's spread out a little bit. But when they all start making the stops, guess who moves right back up to the front? He's hoping to gain some spots right there.
Being careful on those fresh tires as he comes out alongside Max Pappas. By the way, that team and sponsor have put together a deal to carry them for several more years as well, with Max Pappas as the primary driver. They may even have a second car, different sponsorship, and of course a different driver. Pappas is 19th, so Unser Jr. has come out right back in the back of the field. But as Daly's already suggested, everyone else now has to pit.
He can pick up the pace on those new tires, and his car was obviously working very well on full tanks before. He can pick up some spots. Everybody goes into the pits. They have a little bit of a slow pit stop. He had a very fast pit stop, 12 seconds, as John said. And boom, guess what? He may have picked up 2 more spots.
So now we look for Michael Andretti, currently running 9th with those 2 removals of position. First Blundell coming out of the race, and then Al Unser Jr. making his pit stop. That's brought Michael forward 2 positions as we're on the 26th lap now, and the indication is that Michael will come into the pits coming down the hill. We'll just listen to the radio now.
Watch your speed, watch your speed. It's clear in, clear in. Watch your speed. We're going prime. Clear in, watch your speed here. The wing. Okay. Throw your meter. Keep your revs up. Tires are done. Smooth throttle, smooth throttle. Smooth throttle, smooth. Way to go, nice stuff, Mike.
Oh, he's not kidding. That was a nice job, especially when you consider that that was Al Unser Jr. just came by, and here comes one of the 2 Walker cars. Hard to tell from the rear because they're both identically to Scott Goodyear or Robbie Gordon. But the point I wanted to make was Michael has a pit all the way at the top of the hill, so he was on a grade when he pulled out there, making it a little bit harder.
And I would imagine that was part of what they said.
The leader is straight away behind you.
I would imagine that that's why he said to be smooth on that throttle, so that he got away and keep the revs up. So if he got the revs down, if he didn't take a chance of stalling it on that hill. Now, isn't it interesting too that Penske and Newman Haas both stopped earlier than everybody else?
Interesting in that they're teams that have scored victories here. And take a look at this. Is a new camera available to us. You like that for a view? How you like to be that cameraman?
No thanks. Notice how quickly that camera went up.
That's on the sign.
about taking a half turn to wing out. There's the adjustment on the left side and the right side, waiting for fueling to... Oh, they're on top of the hose, right rear. He spins off. I don't know if this will be a penalty or not. 13.6 seconds, but he came down. He didn't run over it. They yanked it back, but he came down on a hose from the air gun in the right rear.
Exactly as you called it, Gary Gerald. When they dropped the car, the hose was there just under the edge of the tire, and they caught it. Now the field comes by as Alex Zanardi comes out. He almost came in right behind his teammate Jimmy Vasser, but he falls in behind Ribeiro.
But isn't it interesting? Ribeiro is now closed up on Jimmy Vasser with little Al gone.
That, of course, gives the lead of the race over to Brian Herta with Gugelman to second. We'll go back and look at that stop. I would say no penalty would be my guess, but of course I'm not the official of the race. Wally Dallenbach, the chief steward here. See the hose there looking at the right rear tire.
So he moves it, throws the gun, but the hose doesn't go back. Now he realizes he reached down at the same time the jack man dropped it. And see the official pointing to the hose. See, he's pointing to the hose. I don't know if that, I'm with Gary. I don't know if that's a penalty or not, because he didn't actually drive over it, and they did pull it out as he sort of rolled away.
Good news. Race control says no penalty, Gary.
Brian Herta overshot his mark, but they barely got it in. 14.6 seconds. But I mean, he laid down skid marks as he slid nearly 10 yards into pit position, and they were still able to get the service done. Amazing.
And with Brian Herta coming into the pits, Jimmy Vasser assumes the lead of the race. Not yet stopped. Vasser followed by Ribeiro. Herta came out in third place. May have lost a little room, though, to Zanardi as they came down the hill. The measurement at the line is right at the pit exit, so a car coming up the hill at speed certainly has the momentum to get past somebody clocked out in the pits.
Second, you're looking out kind of in space. Jimmy Vasser coming into the pits. Was it a very tight corner,
gets the speed under control. Gary Gerald's right there.
Not expecting any changes. Beautifully controlled as he comes in. Now this is where the pressure affects every member of the team. One little mistake could knock them out of $1 million payoff. Revs come up. Oh, still waiting for fueling. We're at 15 seconds. 16.5 seconds. It was a little longer than they wanted, but it was successfully executed.
And look who got out in front of him, the guy that was chasing him, Andre Ribeiro.
Ribeiro gets out ahead of him. Jimmy Vasser coming up the hill with a stop that seemed to be slowed by the refuel and took them 16 seconds.
To play round 16, the final round of the 96 IndyCar World Series at Laguna Seca, California. Jimmy Vasser has just pitted. He's fourth. Al Unser Jr. pitted first. He's down in 13th, and Michael Andretti between them 11th. Cloud of dust. And that was not Hiram Schuster kicking up the dust there. Somebody else behind him running slightly slow. There they go. Schuster running into turn 11 and just running out of road. Well, that's a replay from a moment or two ago. Now, Greg Moore putting in a move, and was that on Al Jr.? Greg Moore running strongly after a rather uninspiring session in qualifying. The young Canadian continuing the traditions set by Harry beasts like Paul Tracy in his early years, and of course last year's champion, Jacques Villeneuve. So if the race ended now, Jimmy Vasser would be the comfortable winner, but Alex Zanardi, look at that, it would be a 1-2 for the team, and they would be thrilled with that, with Andretti and Unser Jr. tied on points. Let's go back now to our American commentary team, Paul Page and Danny Sullivan, to pick up the action from Laguna Seca, California.
have announced, though, that the power plant will change. They're going to go over to Fort Cosworth for the next several years.
Paul, either Brian Herta has gotten faster or Alex Zanardi slowed some since that fuel stop, because he's staying right with him. Before, it wasn't hard for Zanardi to pull away.
Zanardi, Herta, Vassar, Guzman, Pruitt. There's your top 5. And you're right. Herta's right there with him. For the moment, it has broken off as the run continues at Laguna.
Laguna Seca, California, and this is the race for the championship. James Allen now in the chair. Sorry I wasn't here earlier. Bit of a problem getting back from Monza this afternoon. Our thanks to Alitalia for taking off an hour and 40 minutes later than they said they were going to. Anyway, Alex Zanardi out in front, Brian Herta second. Jimmy Vassar running at the moment in 3rd place. Good enough for the championship. Needs just 5th place today, regardless of what his 2 rivals do, to seal his first ever IndyCar World Series title. Right now, Michael Andretti, the main rival, is in 9th place, and Alonso Jr. is in 7th. Majestic Laguna Seca Raceway, once again playing host to the season finale. Very popular with everyone in the IndyCar fraternity. Let's rejoin our American commentators.
I talked to Greg right beforehand. He felt that his car was good.
Let's go to the pits, Gary.
Paul, recapping now on the pit stop for Jimmy Vassar, we were wondering about if there was any problem with the refueling, because it was a 16.5-second stop, which is maybe 3 or 4 seconds longer than optimum. They were being very precise, very careful, wanted to make sure that they got a full load of fuel on. They say there was no problem there. Paul?
Continues as Greg Moore comes down the hill trying to move inside Guzman. He does so in the hairpin, but then he loses it. Moore loses it. He's off the track, no contact with anybody. It was a valiant try, but it was very costly.
That is such a tricky spot there. If you get out a little bit wide, it's always dirty. It's a very inside of the track there. It's got good grip, but if you run wide there at all, it's very, very slippery, and that's what happened to him. Got a little sideways. Great move here. He goes down the inside, but Big Mo takes him in deep and checks him up a little more. Has to turn it to get down in there. He just was loose when he went in.
Boy, he really lost it twice, caught it once, and then spun it completely.
Good try. I mean, he's racing. He wants to get up there to the front.
No question about that. Al Unser Jr., 7th coming forward in the field. Must-win situation for him today. Further update. Now, there are the stats on little Al. Update on the championship situation and moving up the pits to Jan.
Yes, first of all, let's start with Al Unser Jr. The reason that Roger Penske wanted to have him in early was because they didn't want to make changes necessarily. They knew they could do a faster pit stop if they had to take on less fuel trying to get track position. Now, as far as Michael Andretti, when he came in for his pit stop, one thing that we missed, he actually went to the primary Goodyear tire, which is a harder tire. So when we heard him on the radio talking about the car squirming, he obviously decided that the option tire was too soft and that was causing it.
So, Jan, you're saying that the Penske stop was really a time stop? As soon as the tires were done, they were going to pull? What were they doing?
Well, it was a time stop, Paul, but they did take all the fuel. They feel that if they came in a lap early, they wouldn't have to take on as much. So they filled it up, but it took less time.
All right, the Jimmy Vassar story, Gary Zero.
One further update regarding Vassar. We've had a radio conversation between team manager Tom Anderson and Vassar indicating that the crew wants him to save just a little bit of fuel. Now, that's the first time that we've heard fuel economy being mentioned here